After a long and exciting series between Scarlet and Masa, it is finally time for our next series. I know a lot of people need to see some more Protoss, and we've got it here for you. My name is Fear Dragon. I'm joined by Nathanius with a disgusted look on his face. What's our next series, Nate?
Oh God, it's Neeb. Neeb is playing.
It's cool.
Protoss.
It's playing versus
You got
time.
your pun in.
Okay, yeah, I did.
He's playing versus time.
I
It's time for Neeb versus time.
It is. I've only made 2 puns today, so.
The only thing I need is more time to deal with your ridiculous puns, Fear Dragon.
Well, luckily, you do have a little bit more time to deal with my puns. But for now, let's go over the groups just to see the results of all the other matches and stuff that were going on. So you guys can see right now that Neeb is sitting at a 2-0 lead. And of course, we are only playing 3 of the Americas matches today. So you can see that Probe and Masa and Estrella all actually tied for last place right now with 0-2. They need to get some series on the board, some wins to make sure that they don't go out bottom of the group, because the bottom 2 players of this round robin will get knocked out. But so far, Cham and Puck sitting at 1-1. Time, Scarlet, and Neeb all sitting 2-0. So this is going to be a match between 2 players who have gone undefeated so far in the first 2 matches.
That's right. One of these players must get their first loss. Let us know what you think. Hit us up. Hashtag WCS. Talk about StarCraft. And give something more interesting other than Protoss over Terran. Lol, 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 lol. Please. We've seen enough of those messages.
Yeah. But of course, if you guys are interested in watching some of the other matches, then of course those matches are still visible over on Base Trade TV, on Zombie Grub's channel, on Wardy's channel. Please be sure to check them out. We got, looks like, Pro versus Scarlet, Masa versus Puck, and Cham versus Estrella.
Nice.
Any favorite picks from those?
I always love watching Puck play.
Boom.
Unfortunately, I can't watch him play his match now because I'm casting Neeb versus time.
And that's
You should check it out.
Yeah, you can still check out the VODs.
I got this
channels.
small indie Twitch channel, StarCraft. Check it out. It's pretty good. A lot of cool stuff happens on there.
So with this match, Time versus Neeb, what's your prediction? Because I know a lot of people probably just be like, okay, well, it's Neeb, right? It's God of North
Neeb.
America.
Well, I'm
How does he
also
lose
a
this?
huge Neeb fanboy, so I have to go with my boy Neeb. Time's played well. He still doesn't really get to see a crazy amount. I know there was some discussion earlier today as to his whereabouts for him playing this tournament, but I don't know if they were confirmed that he's not playing with lag. So he could be as well, which I would heavily factor into this. I think especially if he is playing from China, then yeah. That drastically affects my opinion on whether he can win a series like this.
Yeah,
if he was here,
I
then
know what you were talking about. There were some rumors that maybe Time was in America, but you're right. We never actually got the 100% confirmation on that.
yeah. So, and I think for a tournament like this, it would be worth it. It has like, just to give you guys an idea, just the amount of delay between your actions and the things happening on the screen are significant enough to impact. You know, when you're trying to load up or snipe a unit, blink, etc.
There's a big time delay on that.
Yes.
But of course, it was actually confirmed just now that Time is in America.
Okay.
So we do know that. That means that we might be getting
Then
an extra special, awesome series.
I think it should be a really good match then. I think this is super close and really hard to call. I still, Neeb fanboy, I'm going to do what I do best and fanboy for Neeb. But
yeah, if I recall correctly, also Neeb did spend time in the Unity house with No Regret and Scarlet and everyone alongside Time for a good bit of time. That one wasn't intentional.
These matches are always the worst.
I know. But I believe that they actually spent some time together inside of the house. They were playing alongside each other, if I recall the timing correctly.
Can we just call him like Teammate?
Teammate.
Teammate?
T-I'm.
Or just Tim? That would be so much easier.
Timey.
No.
No. T-I-M.
No, Fear Dragon, no!
Oh.
Is this game ready yet?
It's almost
Going
ready.
on. Okay, okay.
We're getting the lobby set up, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, be sure again, let us know what you think on Twitter. Hashtag WCS.
Hit us
I've
up.
also I've been enjoying the ticker at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
My favorite was the remark that we could have just, instead of doing a round robin, just done an FFA, and whoever gets eliminated first.
Yeah, that would also work. Yeah. What would it be? Like average points over 5 free-for-alls. Boom. You could just average the score, which is resources gathered, buildings destroyed, units produced.
I mean, there was the Twitch Rivals event. You don't even need to do like average resources gathered or any of the score stuff. You can actually just do awards for whichever place you end up in.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you could, you know. Since free-for-all in StarCraft is actually we've had Battle Royale forever. You know what I mean? That's the format they use, right?
Yeah.
You just play a bunch of games and average out the score across all of them.
The 8-player Battle Royale.
It's not incorrect, Fear Dragon. That's not incorrect to say.
Okay, well, we're going to be starting our first game here in our last series of the day. Down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, top of the red Terran player. He is Time. Representing China and Team Newbie.
Yeah. He faces off against one of the most formidable opponents in the North American StarCraft scene. A legend. No, a god. He is Ting's Neeb.
$406,000.
Ay.
Broke the 400K mark. Well done.
That's a lot of money.
Nice job, Alex. Nice job.
That's a lot.
What would you do with $406,000?
I would put it all into a savings account, Fear Dragon. That's not true.
That's...
I'd build myself a really nice new computer that I don't need because mine's already nice, and then I'd put the rest into a savings
So you'd spend the $6,000 of the $406,000 on a computer, and then you put
I could spend more than $6,000 on a PC. Come on.
How much could you, if you really wanted to
If you really wanted to.
how much could you spend?
Well, you would just build a redundant RAID array for your hard drive system off like 8 NVMe drives.
Ooh.
That's an easy. That might be $10,000 or $20,000 right there, Fear Dragon.
It's fair. You know how to spend the money.
If you really want to on tech, there's kind of no upper limit.
That seems really unnecessary.
That's when I play StarCraft on like a server motherboard, so I have like multiple processors. Who needs 2 PCs to stream when you can have one processor?
I'm running StarCraft on this, but I could really run the StarCraft and a server on this.
It's like, well, you know, like Windows background tasks take out too much performance. So this CPU literally only runs sc2.exe and nothing else.
Amazing. So far, we do have pretty normal PvT opening. We got an Adept coming on out. It's going to be able to push back the Reaper. The Reaper hops up and says, okay, well, there's a full wall over there. The usual Protoss Reaper wall. So not going to be able to make any progress. Warp Gate still not going up. Neeb, a little bit low on gas right now, and he actually just starts up a Stargate now. So that Warp Gate is going to be much more delayed, but he's going to opt to go for some nice Adept pressure and follow it up with a really quick Oracle.
Yep, and this is all pretty vanilla stuff that we're seeing so far. The Adept wants to poke and get a little bit of harassment done, but it is not meant to be. Reaper Grenade's gonna push it back. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was hoping with that Adept to try and get it there in time to, I guess,
he saw
with the SCV building the command center.
Yeah, he saw that it was a factory, right? Like, that's like the kind of stuff you need to know where you're like, well, is it going to be the tank push? That's probably like the biggest thing you always want to keep in mind. And he's okay, so he knows.
Did see. Yeah.
And it's going to be a Cyclone coming out to start, which is okay. I don't hate it. That's very standard.
Pretty safe play, and it's actually not going to be an Oracle first. It's going to be a Phoenix. So how do you feel about that? Because I've seen some like.
I don't like it. Is the answer.
Okay.
Like
I've seen some play from Neeb where he goes into like a 5 or 6 Phoenix still in this day and age, which is kind of old school, but
yeah. So the Phoenix, the biggest thing I can see a Phoenix doing, based on what we've got, since there's no starport, it's like it looks like it's just going to be like a Marine Cyclone attack with maybe an SCV pull. I don't really know. Without a starport, you are broadcasting very loudly that you are not looking for a very long game, because you're not. If you're getting stim and bio without medevacs, that army only fights once and then it's dead. So late starport coming in could just be the conservative play that he's trying to make. But yeah, 2 Cyclones I do find a bit confusing, because that's not going to give you the pushing power that you want. Like, yeah, they're mobile and they can do the poking, but yeah, there we go. Need the tanks. Need to get the tanks out. Like, the Phoenix are good for harassing, but I like the Oracle for Revelation, because you want to know if and or when the Terran player moves out with their army, because those 2 base pushes are still so common.
Yep.
But you can still do harass. It's just, you know, there's 2 Cyclones, so...
Okay, Reactor's starting up on the starport, so we aren't going to see the Tech Lab and follow up like Raven or any Banshee harassment or anything over here. Just looks like he wants to get up some medevacs, although he's throwing it down right next to the barracks, so...
Yeah, I guess this was just meant to be like an extremely safe opening for time. Like,
yeah.
2 Cyclones to push back any early harass, quick enough stim to deal with any sort of like 2-base attack, and then later tanks with the follow-up of late upgrades. To me, though, this does say it's going to be a lot harder for him to try and make a 2-base push work, I feel. Like, it's going to have to be dedicated towards that third, and Neeb's third is not really late, per se, based on what we see these days. Losing a Phoenix there, definitely not good, but if he's able to get that third, like, saturated and kind of kick into the just mass units while I wait for this big push, then I think he should be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have to remember the context of what Neeb has been doing the past 3 or so weeks. He has effectively been playing against some of the best Terran players in the world doing those kind of 2-base pushes like Amaru, like Innovation, etc. So Neeb has got a lot of experience, and while he didn't always manage to pull out the big W against those players, he did pull out multiple. So he's got a really, really solid grasp on how to hold a lot of those 2-base attacks. And so far, time, I don't believe he's thrown down a third orbital command or anything just yet.
We saw that Colossus. That is really big. I mean, these types of attacks really, I think, with this Colossus type play, can really catch him off guard. Like Phoenix Colossus against this, like the Phoenix can go for the tanks, right? And then the Colossus, they are going to demolish Marine SCV. So let's see it. This is Time doing his thing. It's a much bigger than your normal Terran 2-base, like all in. It's hitting a bit later though, and let's see if what Neeb has used that extra time to acquire.
The Colossus not going to be in position to actually deal with this attack, so normally you can try and force field those units at the ramp, but now he's going to go for the force field over there. Another Colossus does pop out, but the Colossus not actually attacking a whole lot of units, not getting less splash damage. Colossus coming in from the south side, getting a little bit more done, but it gets taken out by the tanks.
Oh, there's the tank pickups. There's still 1 Colossus alive on the west side. The Zealots having a hard time without charge.
Ooh, works his way through all the SCVs so far. Time down to 24 versus 37, but Neeb has lost a lot of his own, and he loses power to the robotics facility.
Oh, God. Well, he's not getting that other Colossus out, not in a million years. He's going to push over here, go for a lift up on the tank. The Immortal's dead.
Marines, so many of the Marines are so stimmed up that I think they're actually starting to get one-shot by the Colossus now. They aren't getting the time they need to heal up.
The Colossus is 1 shot from dying now, too.
This is true.
No, I think Time's done it. Like, this has been a really good attack, and the SCV count is now close enough to the probe count that, like, I don't know. These Adepts right here need to save the game for Neeb, like, right now.
Oh, yeah, and he can't even move with the Colossus. GG, Time takes the first one.
Not bad.
Definitely not bad.
You know, it's
very well executed.
It's interesting, right? Presented with a scenario that you're told, hey, the Terran player is going to hit you with one of those big all-ins, Marines, tanks, some medevacs, and SCVs, rather than like the faster, like, you know, 1 Cyclone, maybe 2 tanks, 10 Marines, combat shit-ish, Raven type thing. No, this is like the everything and the kitchen sink build. And you have an extra 2 minutes to do whatever you want. Do you go for Storm? Do you go for Colossus, right? Do you go for the Double Forge, try to get 1-1 with a bunch of charged Zealots and Blink Stalkers? It's hard to say. The Phoenix, I don't feel really gave him the utility he was looking for in this game. As far as the opening goes, maybe something else with the Colossus.
I'm kind of with you.
Could have done it.
I think one of the big things to me though, like I look at that game and it's in that mentality of what's the smallest possible adjustment you could make to hold that. And I think the positioning of where Neeb engaged. So he had this sentry that's over by the ramp that a lot of pros players say, okay, if I have this sentry over here, there's an SCV pull, I'll force field this ramp, buy a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Neeb pulled all the way back to his natural, which meant that immediately the tanks, for example, they siege up in range of the robotics facility. So the pylon gets taken out over there. He loses power. He doesn't get up the extra Colossus. One of his Colossus also didn't go into his natural. It went down to his third.
It died at the third.
Which kind of sucks, and that's like a positioning thing where if he knows which angle the push is going to come in from, he probably doesn't do that, and he keeps his army together and then can try and take out all the Marines and stuff. So I feel like that was, you're right, like the Phoenix didn't really get a lot of value, but I still wonder like if the smaller adjustment you could make is position your units in the correct place.
No, there's definitely some logic to that. I think makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking a little bit further back in the game probably than I need to. I would say I think that that's still possible. Like it's still doable if he has charge as well. It's like we're trying to work stuff like that in.
Yeah.
Because during that fight, you had SCVs fighting Zealots, and like the Zealots are going to retreat for a moment, but then you realize that charge doesn't just give them that attack and that extra damage. It also makes them able to engage and disengage faster. So he wasn't able to save any of those ground units. And when your final attempt to stop the attack is to warp in like 10 adepts, the adepts are garbage against that comp, especially with no +1. The adepts aren't two-shotting anything, and with no resonating glaives, the adepts are attacking incredibly slowly. Like there's to me that him warping in adepts was just like, yes, well I don't have charge, so zealots are somehow even more useless than shading onto my opponent's tanks.
Yeah, that's probably not wrong. But here we go. We're gonna see if this guy up here in the top left-hand corner of the map is gonna be able to lock down a 2-0 victory over arguably the best player in the group. His name is Time, Team Newbie.
Keeps on slipping. And his opponent in the northeast, spawning as our blue Protoss player, a man who's not afraid to build Colossus versus Terran and then die. He is Neeb. Team Ting.
In that good old Ting blue. But,
Ooh la la, monsieur.
Indeed. Time already cut a few SCVs, throws up a couple of those barracks on this side of the map. The trick about this is that the first barracks comes down on the other side of the map, and Neeb is going to move in with a probe. He's going to see a single gas geyser, and it's not immediately going to be clear yet what type of proxy this is.
I'm wondering if he's going to build tech labs immediately. Like, is he going to go for the old Marauderino?
The Marauder stuff has become way more popular lately, I think. So
that's
what I'm expecting.
He's going to get one Marine first. Does the second? Or maybe he's just doing like 2 racks Marines with pressure and then a factory back home. Like a late factory back home. I'm not going to say that I love it, but I'll say that I can see how it kind of works. I don't know if it's better than just proxying 1 barracks.
That is a
doing the
fascinating
Reaper.
one.
But I guess he's trying to get him to pull probes.
Yeah, I mean, he has the gas now to go for a factory if he wants it. He just doesn't have the minerals because he's building a bunker and he's building more Marines.
He's going to use the factory to wall off his main at home. So I guess the idea behind this, instead of a Reaper proxy, is you're not only trying to delay Protoss economy, but you want to present a more real, tangible threat in terms of that natural expansion getting canceled, because this bunker is going to really make things tough. I'd also just like to mention that it's going to affect Neeb's economy, because right now Terran versus Protoss hinges so heavily on the Protoss's continued use of chrono boosts at the start of the game to outpace the Terran in SCV production. Now, he's behind in workers because he's got SCVs across the map, and naturally, he's only built EA to stop making SCVs to get the orbital, but he's still not going to have the same level of comfort that you would typically want to have in a PvT going past this early game phase.
Oh, this is so annoying too, because the SCVs are being really well controlled here by Time, so he's keeping them alive and also keeping the bunker repaired up every single time the Stalkers just try and trip away from a distance. And even the SCVs, I think they may have actually been repairing each other a little bit because they're all both on full hit points.
Yep, that's really well done, really well controlled. Ooh, some of the Stalkers getting low. But think about it this way, right? You're also forcing a huge investment. And whenever I
shield battery energy? He's got 1 shield battery left with some energy.
He's got 2 more that are about to finish. Keep in mind, shield batteries do spawn with full energy, so.
And he can regen the hit points of the Nexus if he needs to buy a little bit more time here.
He wants to get rid of that SCV so badly. Oh. Finally dead. Losing this Nexus would be big. Both batteries dumping all of their energy into it. The probes are coming off too, and it's not gonna go down.
Yeah, well done. Neeb definitely cuts it close, and of course, You have to remember, that's 5 shield batteries. That's 500 extra minerals, but I mean, this is all off of one base here for time. He did get up a factory, but his tech is still pretty delayed.
Dear Dragon, don't you miss the old days when that one pylon would have just killed everything once the mothership core
The
flew
photon overcharge.
Yeah.
No, actually,
And people tell me shield batteries are a problem.
I much preferred when my Nexus itself would defend with 10 range. That was the true
the 2,000 hit
ideal
point,
time.
The 2,000 hit point photon cannon.
I was like,
Lol.
okay, buddy, you want to try and snipe this before you lose all your units? And by the way, I outrange a tank, so good luck with that. Yeah, that was a whole era.
You know, when the Nexus could yeet, those were the good old days.
By the way, I think that we did have the Stalkers start to move out across the map. Neeb is going to start pulling them back, though. Maybe just a really good sense of when, I guess, the medevac could be making its way across the map.
One Cyclone and one Mine. What an unorthodox drop to go for.
I feel like this is one just out of necessity at this point.
Is this just going to be like really cheeky micro? I like this. This is really awkward. Pull the Mine back. The Stalkers can kind of hit it there. Yeah. And you're just, like, you're not really doing anything with this, but you are kind of getting in the head of your opponent. Like, you're forcing them to do some weird multitasking they probably don't want to do.
Ooh, Stalkers coming in for the low ground, though. They snipe off the Widow Mine.
Yeah, it doesn't
nice
end
little ambush.
Doesn't really end up doing anything, but
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, he tried, right? He's messing around. He's trying to do some different stuff.
Dark Shrine on the way here for Neeb.
I love it. Your opponent barely has any economy, right? You want a mule, so
They're on like 1.5 bases. They just finished up their second base. They're, like you said, they're gonna want a mule. They're not gonna have a lot of scans, and here we have the Stalkers trying to ambush this medevac.
there's no universe where you get that cyber core, buddy. Focus on your macro back at home, because that's what you're gonna need to do.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of that. He's spending all of his gas. He's landing that natural expansion now. Gonna get his siege tank sieged up.
Something that
Doesn't
concerns me, Fear Dragon, is that Neeb has not yet started Charge or Blink, right? So he's putting himself in an awkward spot where his actual late game tech is a little bit delayed, or his actual good mid game tech is a bit delayed. Goes into charge now. I like that.
Wait, what if, Nate, I could be wrong about this. What if he chrono boosts out Blink for DTs and goes for the charge lap Blink DT all in?
No.
Against a Marine tank player that has a...
Based on the way that this game
he's
has been
good.
going so far, I can see him just dropping 3 DTs into the Protoss base and killing everything. There's a scan.
Also
Does he
see
see the Dank Shrine? Does he know?
No, it's
No.
on the natural.
He does not.
Okay.
And the Observer already knows there's no detection because he's just zip-zap-zooping around. No problemo.
Well, those Marines don't have combat shields, so if you really want to, you could even one-shot the Marines.
Yeah, you could just kill the whole army.
I mean, there's gonna be a scan. Okay,
GG. There were no
GG.
scans, so it doesn't matter. GG. Rest in Parmesan.
Bada bing, bada boom. And the nice thing is, Neeb, even if those DTs had been scanned and cleaned up almost immediately, if there was a missile charge or something, Neeb had a third base on the way. That was like a, I'm gonna put some pressure on you, but this doesn't have to end the game kind of move.
Yeah, well, no, everything was kind of going well. My only concern is sometimes people double down on these types of things, like they get one or two more units and they need to, and you don't have something like charge to fall back on, because like, what if he decides to save his scans for no reason, or he built a Raven while he was in that weird proxy phase, and you're like, oh my god, my DTs are gone, and he's about to push me with bio that has stim. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That was an alternate parallel universe that I was having flashes from.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the resulting scores so far in the other matches that are going on. So, of course, we know that this series is tied up 1-1, but you guys can see over here, Scarlet leading up versus Probe 1-0. I don't think that's a massive surprise. Masa leading up versus Puck 1-0. I could have definitely seen that go either way, so that's pretty cool. And then Estrella leading up versus Cham 1-0. I think all, honestly,
par for the
course.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy going down over here. What's the final map? Do we know?
No, still waiting on that invite for the second map, but do you have anything in mind that you'd want to see?
Man, like maybe like a Philly cheesesteak with not too many onions. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good map.
Like a big hoagie, yeah.
Always a fan of the Philly map.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why Cheeseadelphia's hosted there.
Now, what if we had a map and it was just like you shrunk down the game again, and it was just like on the Liberty Bell, and it like occasionally rang.
I thought you were gonna go a
cool would
different
that
direction.
be? But like the map
On
is
the Liberty
split in
Bell?
the middle where the crack is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so it's an island map.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's not literally split in half, right? So.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit less exciting. You know what would be great? So, you and Jeff were talking about different map tile sets, right?
I was talking about
Okay.
different map tiles.
Yeah. Jeff was along for the ride.
Jeff
We're
was
gonna
just
include him.
enjoying that series, right?
Jeff was on the boat for the conversation.
Yeah.
He wasn't rowing.
He wasn't allowed to leave because he has to be here, so.
So just imagine you have a map that is like literally a block of cheese. It's like literally the map is a block of cheese, but it's a macro map. Mind games.
I guess.
Yeah.
Feels a little uninspiring, but.
What's your inspired map idea?
I assume, I don't know, like Golden Retriever walking through a park.
All
man.
right.
Miniaturize it.
Miniature.
You ever play like those old
then all the
toy
StarCraft
soldier
units are-
games and stuff where it's just like the most random places that the battles happen?
Turns out StarCraft is literally just like another Toy Story.
It could be. That's what I'm saying. It would be awesome. And then Jeff tried to point out that we had like 4 underwater maps, which apparently breaks everything.
The underwater maps aren't that weird to me. Like, you think about it, hey,
It was
a
funny.
mar-
It was
Space
funny the
Marine suit
first
that's
time.
also like a scuba diving suit. Boom.
It was funny the first time, and we had the space shark, and life was good. And then at some point, someone who thought it was funny kept repeating the joke, and no one took the time to tell them it was time to stop.
Well, it's a good thing that Abyssal Reef wasn't in the map pool for too long for that joke to get old.
No, thank God it wasn't.
Only like 4 map seasons.
Yeah. We're loaded in a game.
Number 3, you're watching StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Winter America's Edition. In the bottom right, our Red Terran player. He is Time! And in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Ting and America. He is Neeb.
I'm proud of you, Rubby. That was a pretty good movie trailer voice. Getting there.
I do my Dragon Ball Z preview next time episode voice every so often.
Yeah. We can all aspire to have a voice like that. That's how we'd really...
It does hurt to maintain though.
Yeah, well, you know, it hurts to maintain Super Saiyan form, but Goku does it for the universe. I think
You know,
we
it
can do it
didn't
for
though.
our viewers.
After they went to the hyperbolic time chamber,
Yep,
they figured out how to
yep,
do it without
nope.
draining any energy.
No, it's just, you know, it's a sacrifice that these people make for our planet, so...
You just have to train with the voice for a year in the hyperbolic
Exactly.
time chamber, and then you'll be able to do it without any problems.
Now you know how I can do it on command, Fear Dragon. Now you know. Nexus on the way. This was the low ground gateway, by the way, that has been the legend told of it. And the intriguing thing here is that Time will not be playing into this shenanigan build because he's not building that Nexus, right? This has come up a few times. If you go core first, the Adept can always reach that natural before the SCV is able to finish, and then it's possible to delay that command center a lot. So Time says, meh, I'm going to do like a fake proxy, put the barracks in my main, and then wall off with the factory, and then just try to play like a normal game from there. And he did make Neeb go core before Nexus, which in my mind is a bit of a victory with this type of build.
Yeah, that is nice. Now, I do want to note that Neeb does know it's not a proxy. He did scout out the barracks in the main
Yes.
base, and he poked back forward and saw the factory in the main base as well.
Yeah,
So that's going to be a bit of a relief.
Neeb hasn't been fooled, but he is respecting this build. He did not want the Reaper to run into his base while he didn't have anything, and he's got to be ready for whatever the follow-up is, right? Could be that fast Cyclone, could be Liberator, Mind Drop. We've seen Reactor Hellion play as well for run-bys.
Ooh, that Reaper in a bit
This
of
one
trouble.
should be dead. If your health is red,
Mine's a cliff, maybe.
health,
No.
red. Oh! This is like every Terran player tries to do this, and it never works.
You need to watch that Meta Micro by
I
Printf.
have never seen someone successfully use the Reaper Mine like that to dodge when you're going to be killed by the next shot.
Printf is a really good guide on how to like time it out and how to learn how
With
to
the
do it
Reaper
properly.
grenade?
Yeah, with the Reaper grenade to or mess with the Adept when it's chasing you. Time it out with the shade.
I've never seen it work in anything competitive. I've never seen a Terran player actually pop that grenade with the Reaper and save itself when it's in red health, like it's about to die.
Yeah. It gets a bit tougher there. Well, so far, Cyclone gonna be able to
That's
catch
a
the
great
Adept.
grab.
That's really nice.
Yeah, would be. Imagine if he could notice the little blur from that observer
Oh,
and
he
he killed that
scans
right
and
now.
kills it.
Yeah.
That'd be a sick pickup.
No.
I'm not gonna.
Oh well. Oh, well.
Well, he does have his own command center finished up a good bit behind Neeb's, but it still finishes up in the natural, and he's going to be able to start mining from it. Tanks also being built here. Time getting up a Viking, I guess a safety Viking, to try and deal with like a Warp Prism or something, I'm assuming.
I mean, I guess. I still feel like, based on this wall, the opportunity is very real for him to try the...
tank push?
Yeah, just another 2-base tank push. I mean, what else are Terrans really doing these days versus Protoss anyway? If it works, it works.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. This is the most common thing in the world to do versus a Protoss player. It's going to chip away at that cybernetic score over the Stalkers and the Sentries, and the Adepts are here.
If there's one thing we've all learned together here in the wonderful world of StarCraft, it's that Time will do anything to try and shoot a cybernetic score from the low ground, even if it means losing the game. But this time around, he's just going to settle for a cheeky pylon.
That's a supply block, by the way. And it's right. I guess it's a bit earlier than the robotics bay would finish up, so it's not.
Here comes the boom, ready or not.
Actually, wait. Will that delay the first Colossus? I think it might.
Yeah.
And
yeah, 40 doesn't have the supply. He has to wait for another pylon.
He only has 3 supply available, and he needs a bit more to build that Colossus. That is a pretty big deal, because remember, this push is all about hitting this very particular timing, and he is going to be able to push forward and get in range to build the bunkers.
The bunkas on the low ground. Tanks are going to siege up. Immortal barrier is procced. And that one Viking becomes very useful here, just for trying to shove the Prism away. The Prism is actually quite low on its own. I'm surprised he didn't try to siege a further bit north, but... Goodbye, Warp Prism.
Viking getting the job done. The Immortal gets sniped up.
Immortal
Nate, I don't know how you defend this anymore as Neeb.
Beautiful control from Time. And you don't, because you went Robo. That's why you're dead, because you went Robotics Bay. And the supply block with that, like this Colossus was never going to be out in time. Also, you wouldn't have range.
God.
Even if he did get a Colossus, he wouldn't have range.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with the Warp Prism, he could have done some cute pickup micro or something.
I'm surprised we didn't see any real like Twilight tech out of Neeb in this series. But I don't feel very good for his chances. I don't know how he breaks out of this. Like the Prism you can try to use to reposition, sure, but he doesn't have the Prism anymore. And he wants Colossus. Guess what? They both come out of the same building. So I expect to see a probe pull at some point. Desperation, maybe a Guardian Shield popped with it. But the medevac can save the Marines and there's no blink, so... Also, you already have Vikings, so the Colossus is like, yeah, what are you going to do, bro?
Yeah, and the Adepts are on the other side of the map. They are getting some minor damage
depot,
done.
Fear Dragon. They're shooting a supply depot. GG, Time! Takes his way into first place in this group.
Yeah, 2-1.
He's the only player that got that victory.
Boom.
Beautiful.
Undefeated now. Time knocks down arguably one of the best players in the group, if not the best player in the group, Neeb.
That's a fair argument for Neeb, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And now you can say arguably Time setting himself up to be the best player in the group. If he is now able to just win the rest of his series, he will go undefeated. He's be the only player.
Time is good. And you know what? You see a lot of weird stuff. We saw some weird stuff from him in Challenger, playing from China with a ton of ping. And that is always going to be something that makes it really, really hard to play StarCraft. Any competitive game you want to have a super responsive experience. But, you know, I know Probe came out here, right, to America so that he could play without latency. Time doing it as well. Just very smart, right? You know, you believe in yourself, you invest in yourself, put yourself in a position where you can perform your best. And so far, he's delivering and looks like a sure shot for the round of 6.
Yeah, looked really strong in the group stage and now looking super duper strong in the round robin. At this point, if you're 3-0 out of 7 matches, I don't even know that it's mathematically possible anymore. I'm not 100% on this. I don't know that it's mathematically possible to not make it out of the group.
America's, so I never count out anything good or bad that can happen, Fear Dragon. But yes, he's looking very good. He's looking very good.
Well, congratulations to Time. And, of course, he's going to have a couple more matches to play tomorrow to sort of guarantee and secure a spot. Remember, it's not just about not getting eliminated here. It's not just about having an easier opponent in the next stage. In the playoffs, it is going to be just 6 players kind of in a line. The further you make it into the round robin, the higher placement that you get, the less matches you have to play. You get to play less matches, prepare for fewer opponents, and just already you earn yourself a lot more prize money just by your seeding through the round robin.